Okay. Clean up the bottom links and we'll get back when we get the links and get them fitted, and we'll do some measurements on seat height, steering rake, and basically how she handles. Okay, so this is how the bike looks at the moment, but what happens when we lower it with these links? It will be 20 centimeters down at the back, which will affect the rake, the steering rake of the bike, but by how much, that is the thing. Also, the side stand, which we already have, so we're okay there. So we're going to be looking at that and how other bikes it affects, and do I need to change. Now this is not new to me. As you can see, here is my V-Strom that I had, but this was 20 years ago, and I put lowering links on the V-Strom, carrying 2 hub, and it just made it easier to get one's leg over. And it made, yeah, very comfortable ride. I was very pleased with the V-Strom for the time that we had it. So I have done it before, so I can't see there being any problems coming up. Right, well, we'll try and keep this as simple as possible, but it's all to do with the bike geometry of which involves hell of a lot. We can't go into that all now because we'll be here all week explaining it. But basically, it's the rake of the forks that we're concerned about, wheelbase, and the weight of the bike. And I've got 1 or 2 facts and figures that you may like to consider. Now, I had the GB350S, and the setup of that was the wheelbase was 1,440. The wheelbase on the new BSA Bantam is the same, it's 1,440. Also, the rake on the Honda GB350 was 27 degrees rake, which is a fair amount, quite a decent, which means that the handling is going to be quite soft, if you like. But the rake on the BSA Bantam, as I say, the wheelbase is the same, is 29 degrees. And it's a lower weighing bike, doesn't weigh quite as much. So it's interesting to see people's take on the handling of the Bantam and on the Honda GB, as they're almost identical in those figures. The suspension is going to be a little different, obviously, but this occurs right across. I mean, one of the lightest and what can I say, almost twitchy bikes to ride was the Triumph 400 Speed. It was a lovely bike, light, manoeuvrable, you can throw it about, it just felt you could flick it anywhere. And that had a wheelbase of 1,377 millimeters and a caster of 24.6. So that was somewhat down from the Honda and the BSA Bantam. The next one was the Royal Enfield Gorilla. Now that has the same wheelbase again, 1440, but the rake on the forks is 21.8 degrees, which is very sharp, very sharp. The handling on that was okay, didn't suit me. I tried it, but it didn't really suit me. And then you've got the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, the new one, and that's got a longer wheelbase. It's 1510 millimeter with a 26.5 degrees rake. Which is more again. So all these different, similar but different, as you can see, and of course it depends on the weight of the bike, etc. And also the suspension as well. Now on some of the bikes that I was mentioning there, the BSA Bantam, the Honda, the suspension travel is not as much as on the Himalayan 411, for instance. You've got about 50mm more travel generally on the suspension, so that gives a softer, better ride. And the wheelbase on the Himalayan 411 is 1465mm, which is less than the new Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, which is 1510. But the interesting thing is the rake on the bike on the 411 is 26.5 degrees, and it's exactly the same as on the 450. It's 26.5 degrees. So altering the suspension on the rear, which can lower it by 20mm seat height, which we will measure when we do this, is going to obviously make a difference to the rake. But as I say, when you consider the BSA Bantam is 29 degrees rake on that, which is quite a lot, hell of a lot in fact. So it's a case of we shall see just how much practical difference it makes when I get round to actually doing this. And as I say, the wheelbase does make a difference as well. That rake is amplified, if you like, by the shorter the wheelbase. And the longer the wheelbase, it's not quite so. It doesn't have quite the same effect. So this is all starts to get a bit complicated. If you want it to be complicated, the main thing is it's like a lot of these things, it's a case of suck it and see. So we will lower the bike and we will see how it handles, and if necessary I will alter the front suspension by the necessary amount. Drop the forks in the yokes just a little bit to see what difference that makes. I'm not particularly worried about ground clearance because I'm using the bike 95% on the road. Sometimes we get onto some gravel and loose earth, but most of the time it's going to be on tarmac. and we'll just have to see how we go with that. Okay, I'm now trying to think of what else I can mention there. The garage at the moment is about 2 or 3 degrees, hence why I'm talking to you in the office rather than down in the garage. It's too bloody cold for me, and for the next couple of months it's going to be rather on the chilly side, to say the least. So probably won't be many more videos going out, not biking videos anyway. I will be concentrating more on my photography and wildlife. I'll put a link into that so that if you're interested you can have a look. Anyway, I hope you all had a good New Year, good Christmas, and I hope to see you further down the line when that temperature gets up and I get round to making these modifications, and I can report on how good or bad they are. So cheers for now, catch you all next time, and if you can, give us a thumbs up. If you can give us also subscribe to the channel, doesn't cost anything, but it keeps you up to date. Okay, cheers for now, see you next time.